And welcome back, everyone, to its last call. Last call with the alcohol only on the Last Call Blue Wire Hustle YouTube channel. Join me here on the line. This young lady here, well, she's looking for a fight. It will be September. A lot of things going on with her. And, well, she's hoping to continue her winning streak at a very impressive 8-0 with 7 knockouts. I give you all the way from Paterson, New Jersey. I give you super middleweight sensation. I give you Shadasia Green. Shadasia, let's start off here with. So you're looking for a fight. It's now we're going to September. How frustrating is it sometimes when you're trying to find an opponent and there's just not many that A, want to step in there, and B, are good enough to at least give you somewhat of a challenge?
I mean, it can be very frustrating at times, but I'm so induced and focused on working on my craft that I just understand that this comes with the territory. So basically, I continuously train and just perfect all my flaws, and hopefully that when we get a date and somebody's willing to step up, I showcase my skills and my talent, and I go from there. As a lot of people know, in the United States, not a lot of female fighters will fight me. So we take our talents over to Mexico, where fighters are more prone to get in there and give me some work. And I can add another win to my bout, a win to my record, rather.
How tough is it even though for you getting that? Because I'm looking at BoxRec just alone, and the only people right now ahead of you are Franchon Crews Dezurn and
Mm-hmm.
Christina Hammer. And I'm guessing you would jump up a chance for Hammer, but that's she had to go to Germany. We still have COVID issues, and she's basically, she's looking for big money fights. You have yourself. You have Franchon Cruz. I mean, how tough is it sometimes just finding even people down in Mexico, literally, who weigh your weight and can actually fight? Not, they aren't just, oh, yeah, let's put some gloves in this girl, throw her out there, and watch Shadesia just, bludgeon this person to death.
It's tough, of course. I mean, we want solid competitors in there, and I hope to be fighting for a world title soon. Franchon Cruz is a world champion. She has two of the super middleweight division belts. So I understand that it's going to take some time to be able to step in the ring with her and show her what I offer. Christina Hammer is moving up from 160. It's kind of shocking, but like I said, my whole focus is just basically getting in the ring and showcasing my skills and my talent and what I've been working on. No matter what, if God sets forth for me to be in a world championship bout, then that's where I'll be. I'm gonna continuously keep working hard and striving to be the best person that I can be and destroy anybody and whoever they put in front of me.
So what got you into boxing? I mean, you're an older person compared to most people who are 8-0. I mean, you're not a 21-year-old, not an 18-year-old, 19-year-old. So, what made you get into boxing at a later age, and why boxing? Why was this a sport that you've just fallen in love with?
I was a basketball player prior to boxing, and I had a real rugged coach, really tough, really hard on me. He wanted me to get in shape. He said that I can be more disciplined if I was in shape. I was a star player, All-American nominee, and I just wanted to find another way to get in shape. So I walked into a boxing gym. I met my first trainer by the name of Barry Porter, and we took off. I was 15, 16. From there, I fell so much in love with it that I had college coaches sitting at my living room table with a letter of intent to sign for a scholarship, but I couldn't be found. I was in the boxing gym. So my mother made a deal with me. She said, if you go to college, get your degree, and you no longer want to play basketball and you want to come back and box, I'll give you your life back. Once I left boxing, it wasn't the easiest thing to do. Mentally, you had to be involved. Physically, you had to be 100% involved. So you don't see a bunch of people walking into a boxing gym saying, hey, I want to box. You see a bunch of people walking into a basketball, football, soccer saying, hey, I want to learn how to play those sports. You don't play boxing. So I fell in love with it for that particular format, that you can't walk in there and just say, hey, I want to box without having a heart and a skill. And it went on from there. Once I graduated college, I came back and I just pursued my career 100%, challenging myself in every aspect, challenging my threshold. And here I am today. I'm a young 32. I just turned 32 a couple of days ago, but I'm a very young 32. And why I say that is because some of my best fights are ahead of me. I haven't had rough and rugged fights prior to the age of 32. I mean, I had an extensive amateur background, but I don't take a lot of punishment. I'm hard to hit. I don't stand there and just bang, bang, bang. I have different elements of boxing, and I'm pretty good at. I can box, I can brawl, I can punch, I can move, I can do it all. So when I say I'm a young 32, meaning that I'm prepared to fight the toughest battles in front of me to make me the undisputed pound for pound world champion in the female campaign of boxing.
How tough is it? I'm guessing, with the weight, because you're looking around, and more and more you're seeing like Clarissa Shields, who started at 168. Now she's dropped all the way down to 154. You have Savannah Marshall, who's now dropped down to 160. Is that something you can do, or is your body just, as you said, are you just too big, too muscular that your body's going, yeah, no. 164 is even pushing it here, lady. We can't get down that far.
Honestly, you can't. I'm not the type of person to say no before I even try it. You're talking to a person that came down from 230 to 168. So basically, whatever I put my mind to, I can do. My plans is to reign at 168 and be undisputed, of course, knocking off everybody who I had to. And I understand that there's going to be very, very tough fights. Nobody's going to give me the belt or give me that position. And if the money makes sense and everything is into play, I would like to go down 160 and get some bigger fights. But you never know. I'm not the type of person to say, hey, it's impossible. If I put my mind to something, I can do it.
So, so who, as you said, you're trying to do, become a champion, but how tough is it when they're all leaving? I mean, as we mentioned before, you're looking at right now ahead of you is this Franchon Crews Dezurn, and you have Christina Hammer. And Hammer's even, at times gone down to 160 because the money is there. The bigger opponents, whether it's Shields, whether it's Tori Nelson, though, they're not coming back up, so she dropped down. We've seen Savannah Marshall go from 168. She went, all right, I want Clarissa Shields, so she's dropping down. I know you want to become champions, but what for you? How much do you also want? The big sexy fights, the fights where you can say, "Oh, I'm fighting this person." People go, "Oh, I know who that is."
Well, Christina Hammer is not a big attribute in my weight class. She came up from 160. She's not a champion at my weight class. Franchon Crews and Aline Celeros are they both hold 2 belts. That's who I am thinking about and who should be talked about. After all, Christina Hammer is not a champion at 168. She lost her fight at 160. No disrespect to her, to Clarissa Shields. She moved up to 168, but she's more so on the same level as I am. She doesn't have a belt. Franchon Crews and Aline Cederos are the 2 top dogs in 168 at the super middleweight division. I don't know if you understand that or not, like if you looked it up, but they have all the belts and they are actually supposed to fight for one of them to become the undisputed. So my focus is on that. My focus is on them, not Christina Hammer or anybody else. Like I said, I'm trying to reign in the 168 division, and Christina Hammer is coming up from 160. She doesn't have a belt at 168.
But she brings the money, and I'm guessing that also, because you were talking about earlier about you have been fighting more overseas because, for one, they treat female boxing, I think, better there. They respect it as a sport. It also pays better. So I get Hammer doesn't have a title, but is it still a big fight because you go over to Germany, people recognize you and cheer you? I mean, you go over to Germany, they treat boxing as on par with American basketball and American football. They look at it as a real sport. They put money into it. You are getting paid. I know she doesn't have the belts, but is that still a fight? Do you still consider fights like that? Because you want to get paid. I mean, you want to be treated like, people recognize and have fans recognize what you do instead of sometimes go to arena and there's people who sometimes, unfortunately, treat women's boxing like a sideshow and they'll make cat calls and hustle. And here you are at professional times and you still don't get the treatment other professionals get who are male fighters.
I mean, if the money makes sense, then that's a fight that I need to look into. But right now, that's not somebody I'm eyeing. I'm not turning down any fights. I mean, if Christina Hammer brings the money, then hey, I would love that fight. But the last time I recall, she fought Clarissa Shields, and Clarissa Shields was the biggest draw out of those two. So no disrespect to her, but you don't know, whatever makes dollars make sense. So if that's what people are saying, this is the first time I'm hearing this, but hey, that's what it is then,
Give me the moment where it made sense. When it makes sense, like all of a sudden you could go a full fight and throw a jab, bob and weave, and you weren't thinking about it. I mean, you weren't thinking, oh, I'm going to throw a jab, and you weren't thinking, I got to do this. Like, when do you become confident, almost just get that fight where everything made sense? You're just fighting. You're not thinking about it. You're not overanalyzing it. But you went into the ring, and everything just for you, it was like almost riding a bike. You could do it with your eyes closed. You feel comfortable. You became basically a pure boxer.
That hasn't happened in a fight. I think that some of my worst battles, some of my toughest battles are in the gym. My trainer put me in positions that prepare me for the future. I'm training with top tier guys who hit hard, who can box, who can punch. And after sparring and I'm performing and I'm touching these guys up and I'm not thinking and I'm just reflecting and basically deflecting punches and reacting to certain things, is when I say to myself, I'm a professional fighter. And my mind, because people think you become a professional fighter and you go out there and fight. No, your mind has to align with what you're trying to do. And it takes a couple of fights and a couple of years before you really become a successful professional fighter. And I think that lately, my training and what I've attributed to my gym, and I'm doing the things that my trainer is asking me to do. I'm running, I'm conditioning, I'm eating right, I'm staying disciplined, and I'm sparring these tough guys. And I'm doing pretty well. I think that's what turns me into a professional fighter. And I'm reacting and I'm going without thinking. So it hasn't happened in the fight. I think I'd like to say that it happened in the gym. Honestly, that's where some of my toughest battles are. So it makes the fight easy.
It's funny about the sport. It's one of the most grueling sports ever, a lot like mixed martial arts. And yet there's always people who say, oh, we could do this, or this guy could do this. He's a great basketball player. He's a great football player. This young lady here, she's a phenomenal athlete. She could do this here. How much have you had to sacrifice to get to this? And how tough was it for you in the beginning, just boxing, where you're constantly on your feet for 3 to 5 minutes, sometimes, depending on how much they want to push you, or in women's boxing, 2 minutes. You are always moving every body part, whether it's your hands, your feet, your legs, your arms. You're taking punches, you're delivering punches. For you, like, how much have you had to sacrifice to get to that point where you can box professionally and do well? You're not throwing up after 2 minutes. You're not passing out because you're out of oxygen. I mean, for you to get to this point where you're 8-0 and 7 knockouts, how much pain, anguish, and sacrifice have you had to go through just to get to this point?
Well, of course, a lot of sacrifice. When I first started boxing, a lot of people weren't for it. I didn't have a big fan base because they said, you're a great basketball player. What are you doing boxing? Why would you leave college and opportunities to go to the WNBA to box or to play overseas to box? People didn't believe. But what mattered is that I believed. Since I was an amateur, one of my first trainers always trained me like a pro. I've never trained like an amateur. I've never had it easy. I never took it slow. My trainer, Barry Porter, who's still in my corner today, he trained me like a professional fighter. He was very, very hard on me. And as I look back, it all pays off today for some of the situations that I'm put in and placed in, and some of the things that I do and how skillful I actually am. I owe that to him because, again, he's never trained me like an amateur. So I made a lot of sacrifices. You can't, there's no part-time job in boxing. You have to give it 100%. There's no one leg in and one leg out. Boxing will catch up with you. You're not doing the things you're supposed to do. So I've made a lot of financial, physical, and mentally sacrifices to pursue this sport. and I'm proud of it.
Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, I give you one of the rising stars of women's boxing, and hopefully she'll start getting not just the title fights, but the bigger paychecks very soon. I give you all the way from Paterson, New Jersey. I give you it's Shadasia Green. Miss Green, before I let you go, where can fans check you out at? Where is the Twitter page, Instagram, the website, and where can fans hit you up at?
Absolutely. My Instagram is Shadasia, SHADASIA_Green. My Twitter name is Shadasia, SHADASIA Green. And so is my Facebook. They're all the same. I keep it pretty straight and forward. I'm trying to do better with posting more and putting myself out there more and branding myself more. But of course, I train 2 and 3 times a day. I train other kids and clients. So sometimes I go missing for a couple of days, but that doesn't mean that I'm not alive. So you can find me there. And once again, thank you to Chris Connor. I appreciate you providing your platform for people to get to know me. And it's an honor to be able to speak and talk to you and conduct this interview.
Pleasure is all mine, Ms. Green. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, I give it Shadasia Green. I apologize to you earlier for mispronouncing your name, but we will soon be knowing your name, as I'm guessing next couple of months, even dare I say the new year. We come back, but stay tuned for more great action coming up only on Last Call. Last Call with the alcohol, only on it is the Last Call YouTube channel.